Welcome to Merge, everyone. I am Katie Foster, Student Ministry Director, and we are going to continue our series called Start the Party. So this is week 2 of a 10-week series. The 11th week is going to be a party. We are going to have a party. So just keep that in mind. We'll be talking about it more and more as the weeks come in, what to wear, what we're going to eat, what kind of activities. And actually, you can start to become involved and help planning. In fact, we have a lot of events coming up that we'll talk about at the end, that we used all the events from last week. We had a big whiteboard over here, so I'm referring to the whiteboard that is no longer here, where we came up with ideas, and we're actually going to use some of those ideas for the parties that we're having, or events. So we're going to talk about Start the Party. And this is all about the promise that Jesus made to us about getting the most out of life. And when we say party in this series, we mean any effort to celebrate, serve, or enjoy being with others in a way that adds value to life. Can you think of someone who's gone the extra mile for you? Who is it? Your mom? Anybody else think of somebody who has gone above and beyond to help you out?
My therapist.
There you go. Abby, I love you. Your dad. A lot of us think of our parents, right? What? Abby? Okay. Your best friend? And when they do that, how does that make you feel? How does that make you feel once valued? That is a great word. You filled with joy. You feel awesome, amazing. I've got a couple of things to share. So, how many people run cross country? Sorry. There's a cross country runner right here. So, cross country. I ran cross country, and I always expected my parents to show up. That was just kind of an expectation because all three of us, like both of my brothers and I, were usually all in the same place on like a Saturday or a Tuesday. There's rarely a time in cross country we were at two separate places. So we would always be at a meet together. So I kind of expected my parents to show up. What always surprised me, though, sometimes is when my grandparents would show up. I mean, on a day in the fall when it's like 70 degrees and sunny and there's a nice breeze and it's just a glorious day out, I think about it. But this is usually the days they usually showed up. So that's me and my grandpa. So that was me in, I want to say, I don't know, that was high school maybe? But this was Ely Park. And I don't know if you've ever been to Ely Park, but anytime I've ever had a meet there, it was muddy. Like the entire field was mud. It would generally snow, rain, and there's usually just tons of wind all on the same day. So it would be so cold, and they would show up. And let me tell you, I know I could hear my parents like yelling, but I could hear my grandparents cheering for me above everybody else at the finish line. And that just filled my heart with joy. And another example is my cousin Cassie. How many people know Cassie? She's been down here a couple times. So when I first asked her to speak, I mean, one, she was nervous. Everyone's nervous doing public speaking, but her first automatic response is, great, and I know the perfect game to do too. So automatically, she was not just saying yes, she was thinking, what else can I do? And this is when I was getting ready for maternity leave. So she also helped with small groups. And I know we're friends and family, but she does this to any time she helps someone out. So when I think of someone who goes the extra mile, not even just for me, but for everyone she meets, I think of Cassie. And it absolutely feels amazing because I was going on maternity leave, and with the first time she spoke, I was supposed to be there, and I ended up having my baby that day. So, but I knew that you guys were taken care of because someone was going above and beyond to take care of something that was special to me. And it was also something that's special to her that she's passionate about teen ministry as well. So I was just so excited that you guys were taken care of while I was gone. And I think we could all use a little more people like Cassie or my grandparents or anybody else or Abby's in our lives. Anybody who goes above and beyond. We all need those people who show up, who care, and go that extra mile. I mean, those people are party starters. We all need them, but at the same time, a lot of us struggle to be them. I struggle to be them sometimes. Because I don't know for you, but for me, the whole idea of doing more than what's asked of me isn't easy. And I think we're honest, most of us would say it's easier to just do the bare minimum. And of course, this bare minimum approach doesn't come from a bad place. There's a lot of reasons why we do that. Sometimes we do this because we're honestly just tired. I mean, you can't give more to someone else because you need someone to help you now. I mean, ever had an instance where your parents asked you to do something when you're absolutely, completely exhausted? Yeah. Sometimes those don't, unless you check your attitude, a lot of times those don't turn out well. That's from personal experience, so. But sometimes, also, the extra effort doesn't seem like it would have any benefit. I mean, you couldn't possibly have enough time or money or resources to make that much of an impact, right? Or sometimes our bare minimum is the result of fear. Maybe you want to help someone out, but you're scared to mess it up, embarrass yourself, or do or say the wrong thing. Are any of you willing to admit that you're scared of failure? I mean, this was literally me my entire middle school, high school, and probably most of my college experience. A lot of what I did for God was put in place because I was too scared to do more. So it was this paralyzing fear. I didn't want a failure to mess up of everything. And then if we're honest, sometimes it's the result of lack of motivation that you want to do the bare minimum. Maybe you're just not motivated to do more than what you're asked to right now. But no matter the reason, I think on some level, this bare minimum approach to helping others is true of all of us. But I wonder if you stop to consider it, if this is the kind of person you want to be. Do you want to be someone who lives life at the minimum? Or do you want someone who chooses to go the extra mile? Someone who lives more like a party starter when it comes to helping others? So in this series, the first week of the series, we talked about what it means to live this full, amazing life Jesus came for us to have. And we're going to continue talking about living that life. That we can have this party mentality in any circumstance we find ourselves in. And we can invite others to this party as well. But I want you to think about the most amazing party you've ever been at. Chances are that party didn't happen because somebody put their bare minimum effort into it. It's because somebody went above and beyond. They did all the things they were supposed to do and then some. Though that's because they were a party starter. Everything about Jesus' life, ministry and death, and his resurrection was about going the extra mile for people he loved. Jesus was the ultimate party starter, and he's who we're looking at during the series. So Romans 5:8 says, God demonstrates his own love for us in this. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. So while we were still in the middle of our mess, Jesus went the extra mile. Notice what the verse doesn't say. It doesn't say when we fixed ourselves, then Christ died for us. Or when we did all these amazing things on this checklist, Christ died for us. No. It says while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. And God knows every sin that you have committed. Nothing is hidden from him. He even knows what you're going to do in the future. And he looked at that, and he still sent his son. And Jesus knew that. And he still chose to die for you because he loves you. And Jesus took this extra mile stuff one step further. Jesus called us to follow his lead and do the same for others. So we can see God's love. When we look at this verse, we can see God's love for us because Jesus demonstrates it by how he lived and died. God let Jesus' life show us a picture of what God is really like. So when you go the extra mile for others, we get to show other people what God is like. Jesus' life showed us God's love, then our life can demonstrate God and Jesus' love for others. So again, Jesus calls us to follow his lead and do the same for others. So before we get to what Jesus says in the Bible, there's a little background information. So during this time when Jesus was on earth, this was the time of the Roman Empire. And Roman soldiers had all the power. So they could get away with just about anything, especially when it came to Jewish people, most of whom were not Roman citizens. And just to inform you, Jesus was Jewish. So he falls into this. So during that time, there's this practice which basically said a Roman soldier could demand someone to carry their belongings, their heavy armor, or their gear for a full mile, no questions asked. They probably weren't making a lot of friends. So let's just put it, that's just a nice way to put it. So Jesus, knowing all this, you probably would expect him to say, you don't have to listen to them, or don't help those soldiers do anything. They're not being very nice. No, Jesus says this in Matthew 5:41. If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with them 2 miles. Sometimes when I read this verse, I go, excuse me? I mean, did I hear that right? Doesn't this seem backwards to everybody else? Doesn't this seem backwards to what society tells us? But Jesus wants us to go another mile, to do more than what's required of us, to help someone even when they've done nothing to deserve it. And the answer is yes. Jesus is encouraging us to go above and beyond, to do more than the bare minimum. Remember, Jesus showed up and died for us in the middle of our mess. And he's calling us to do the same for others. A party starter does more than what is asked of them. So this is an invitation to follow Jesus' lead and start the party right here, right now, by going the extra mile for others when we can. Now, I'm going to be clear. I'm not suggesting that you should do so much for someone else that it causes you harm. You have to take care of yourself, and you need good, healthy boundaries to know when you've done enough or when you just don't have much to give. So Jesus isn't asking us to do something out of obligation or because someone else is using their power to make us do something. So what do we do with all this? If we want to be party starters who do more than what is asked of us, where do we start? I think the perfect place to start is with that question I asked earlier. What kind of person do you want to be? Do you want to be someone who does the bare minimum? Or do you want to be someone who goes the extra mile? Before you can move forward, you have to decide who you want to be. And I want you to remember that feeling of when someone went the extra mile for you. Don't you want to be that for someone else? And the fact is Jesus is calling you to. Next, make a decision to do something you don't have to do. And it's okay to start small. Sometimes we think of all these extravagant things that people have gone the extra mile. It's okay to start small because the extra mile will look different for each one of us and for each situation we're in. Because one, God has made us all differently, and we're all in a different situation in life. So the extra mile is going to look different. But think about one way you can choose to go the extra mile this week. What do you think will happen if you did more to help around the house this week without being asked? I mean, think about it. If your parents asked you to clean your room, what if you, 1, did it to the best of your ability, but 2, decided to clean something else instead? What might it look like if you were generous and kind with someone you knew who's lonely? What if you did something unexpected to help someone at church? I mean, how many of you serve or volunteer? That is awesome. That is a way to be a party starter. But then also, when we serve, we can also go the extra mile. Because when we're serving, you can either serve with bare minimum or you can serve by going that extra mile. That's a lot about what we talked in small group about. That's what you're going to talk about in small group about later on. So what's one way you can go the extra mile volunteering? The first thing to do is you can ask your leader. So if you're in children's ministry, then ask Stephanie. So just look at your leader. How many people got a challenge card last week? If you did not get a challenge card, we have some more. So we have these challenge cards. And if you fulfill the challenge, you get to put your name on it. And then at the party, we're going to draw a couple winners. But I've also heard people say, I already do this, or this is so easy when they've read the challenge card, depending on what challenge you got. So I challenge you to go the extra mile. I mean, what's a challenge card if it's not challenging? So think about a way to not only do something, maybe you look at the challenge, maybe the first challenge looks easy. Maybe do it again. Maybe think of a way to make it more difficult. Maybe do something you're not already doing. And when you complete it, share it. God calls us to not only be party starters here in Merge, but he wants us to celebrate and share a story and spread Jesus' love to others. One of the ways is talking about the ways we have made a difference in other people's lives and how we can spread Jesus' love. And if you still don't really understand this concept, here's another illustration. How many people know what a red carpet is? What does it mean to roll out a red carpet? Yeah. I mean, what else do you think of when you think of red carpet? Royalty. Yeah. A huge event, right? I mean, we use this to describe incredible service, top-tier experiences, special occasions. A red carpet represents going above and beyond to make someone else feel important, unique, and celebrated. So what would it look like if we were the kind of people who decided to roll out the red carpet for other people wherever we go? And I mean, not literally. If you think about that, that can be a little weird. Okay. But in the ways we treat others, in going the extra mile for those around us, and in serving others in ways we don't have to, but choose to, in order to make a positive impact in their lives and in ours. And I'm going to be real with you here. This doesn't come naturally. If you think of someone who goes above and beyond all the time, chances are they just didn't wake up one morning and start that way. And just because you are a Christian or accept Christ doesn't mean this happens magically. You won't magically do all the things Jesus wants you to do. It takes work and effort. Any athletes out there? I know there are a few. I mean, it takes work to develop a new skill and to become good at any sport. So think about it this way. Over time, you can build this muscle of serving, loving, and caring for others and putting others first. But also remember that sometimes you need to let somebody else walk with you. Sometimes you need somebody else to go the extra mile for you. That's just a part of life. So if that's the season you're in right now, don't be afraid to speak up. Your small group is a great place to start. Your small group, you're surrounded by people who want to help you. There are other party starters in your small group who are willing to support you and go the extra mile if you need it. And then if you don't feel comfortable in your small group, reach out to a leader or a mentor. Send a connection card either online or on the New Life app, or we actually have, a physical paper and pen that you can fill out back there with prayer requests or next steps or anything. If you want to talk to somebody, just put in your information and then put it in the treasure box back there by the table. I mean, we are here for you, and you are not alone. A party starter does more than what is asked for them. And as we head out, think about this question. Was one way I can go the extra mile for someone else this week? Let's pray. Dear God, I thank you that you went the extra mile, that even in the middle of my mess and everything else, you died for me, and that you love me. I pray that you give me the strength and the courage to share that with everyone I meet, that invite others into this amazing, wonderful life around me. Not just here in Merge, and I pray all the students feel this as well, that we just don't keep this here in Merge, that we carry it wherever we go. I pray that you embolden us to share this love and joy and full life within our schools, within our homes, within our neighborhoods around us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. If you really liked it, hit subscribe below. And if you want to check out some other videos that we have on our channel, click right over here. And if this video up here is one that's specifically picked out for you. Thank you again for watching.